Hello Year 10 and welcome to our next lesson in the Birmingham unit of work. So today we're going to be looking at transport in Birmingham because it's something we haven't really looked at yet. And our objective today is to explain how traffic congestion can be reduced with integrated new forms of transport. So we need to look at why traffic congestion is bad and how we can solve the problem of congested roads in Birmingham. So let's write the title down and then we're ready to move on. I'd like you to think for just a minute about what problems would be caused by traffic congestion like this. So this is a quite famous photograph from 2012, and this is the motorway, the M42, going into the centre of Birmingham. And as you can see, it is very congested. So take a moment to think, what are the problems that are going to be caused by traffic congestion like this? I'd like you to just pause the video for a few moments and have a think about the different problems. So hopefully you've been able to think of at least a couple of problems that traffic congestion, like you saw in the last photo, can cause. Probably the biggest issue at the moment is to do with greenhouse gases. All of those cars sitting there with their engines on, idling, not moving, produces a huge amount of carbon dioxide and pollution into the air, which, as we know at the moment, is a huge, huge issue right across the world. Probably the second biggest problem with that congestion is the amount of wasted time. All of those people and delivery trucks stuck in traffic means damage to the local economy. People are going to be late for work, businesses aren't going to be running as they should do, and it causes damage to the very economic structure of Birmingham. If you look at this photograph, you might have spotted this road layout before. Some of you might know what it's called. It's called Spaghetti Junction, and it's just on the outskirts of Birmingham. This is actually the cause of a huge amount of the traffic congestion in Birmingham. It's called Spaghetti Junction because it's such a complicated road layout. If you look at it from the air, it looks like a piece of spaghetti because it's all twisted and there's lots of twists and turns. So just take a moment to think, why do you think that road layout causes so many problems? Okay, well, if you mentioned or thought about anything to do with those really sharp twists and turns and the amount of extra space that that road takes up, that is the main cause of congestion. So we'll have a look at some facts about Spaghetti Junction. It's the fourth worst traffic hotspot in the UK. A typical jam lasts 3 hours there. Usually every morning and every evening, there will be people sitting in their cars for at least 3 hours not moving. The tailback can often stretch 5 miles outside of Birmingham and be made up of over 3,000 cars. And all of this wastes about £2 billion worth of time per year. If you add up all of the damage that it causes to local businesses with wasted time, missed deliveries, etc. So it is a huge problem in Birmingham. Air pollution, as we've already mentioned, is also really, really bad. So let's have a look at some key facts and figures. So Birmingham is the third most polluted city in the UK, which is pretty bad. On 6 days a year, the air pollution is hazardous to health in Broad Street. So that means 6 days a year, the pollution is so bad it can damage people's health. And in total, the air pollution contributes to about 520 deaths a year in the city. So that's not a very good statistic. So what I'd like you to do before we move on is to just draw a really simple table. On one side, put congestion, and on one side, put air pollution. And obviously the title is going to be Problems with Congestion in Birmingham. And all I'd like you to do is to just go back in the video or from your own memory, try and get 3 or 4 key facts and figures down as to why congestion is bad and why air pollution is bad in Birmingham. So think about damage to health, cost, time wasted, etc., etc. And then we'll be ready to move on. So I'd like us now to have a go at a 4-mark question. And this is what is going to be uploaded to Teams as part of this lesson. So the question is, why is traffic congestion a problem for a city like Birmingham? So obviously, we know how to do these. You begin with a topic sentence starter. Traffic congestion is a major problem in a city such as Birmingham. You then obviously add because, and you try and identify 2 problems caused by congestion. Our problems are obviously pollution, loss of business, damage to health, etc. So you've only got to choose 2. And you need to make sure you explain why they are bad and use facts and figures. So for instance, if you're using pollution as an example, you can say 520 people die each year. 6 days in the year, the pollution is so bad it damages people's health. So try and then finish with a little summary sentence. Overall, congestion is really bad in Birmingham, mainly because of the damage to people's health that it is causing. So just finish with a really simple little snappy sentence as to which one you think is the worst. And that is your 4-mark question. So off you go. Have a go at this question. We're now going to have to try and work out how we can solve the problem of traffic congestion in Birmingham. So we're going to watch a couple of clips and we're going to see what strategies are being put in place to try and ease the problem of traffic congestion and pollution in Birmingham. So let's look at our first clip.
Now, after months of delay, the final section of the Midland Metro city centre extension opened to passengers this morning. The £128 million tram scheme has been more than 20 years in the planning. It's hoped that the new line will boost the city's economy. Here's our transport correspondent, Peter Plisner.
The opening might have been delayed, but today's first tram was bang on time as it pushed through the now traditional ceremonial banner. And despite the early bank holiday start, there were plenty of passengers wanting to be the first to try it out.
It's wonderful, it's comfortable. I'm a regular commuter.
Just come straight out of New Street station and jump straight on.
But it's been a long time in coming. This Walsall councillor was one of those who lobbied for the scheme in the early days.
It was such a struggle with the first line. It's taken all this time to get to this point, and obviously we're all so keen that things move much more quickly in the future.
The new extension is just a third of a mile long, linking Birmingham's 2 main railway stations at Snow Hill and New Street. Some have been critical of the fact that you can walk it in just 5 minutes. But for Centro, which has funded the new extension, it's more than just an additional piece of track.
It's a culmination of several years' worth of investment in both the trams, the new depot and the extension into the city centre, and this will now become the hub of an expanded network over the next 5 to 10 years.
And after 3 years of disruption, Birmingham's retailers are hoping the new line will give the city a boost.
It adds to the theatre in the city. You know, go somewhere like Amsterdam or Budapest, you'll see trams wandering around the streets and they're a fantastic tourist attraction.
And the good news is work on the next extension through to Centenary Square and Edgbaston is due to start next year. Peter Plisner, BBC Midlands Today in Birmingham.
Okay, hopefully you've been able to pick up some good ideas from that clip. Now we're going to have a look at our second strategy to try and ease congestion. So let's have a look.
Since the work's been done, I've been going every day on the canal pretty much, just because it's so easy.
I've seen kingfishers, which I didn't expect to see on a canal, and you see lots of wildlife as well, like foxes, hedgehogs, etc.
You don't need to go out and start racing the first day. Take it at your own pace, slowly build up, start with short distances.
All the people who are spending hundreds of pounds in paying the gym, I think you should join this.
The aim of Birmingham Cycle Revolution is to get more people cycling in this city, and the canal network provides us with a great space in which people can enjoy cycling in a safe environment. We've got about 40 kilometres of network that have been resurfaced, and that creates a great surface for cyclists there. We've got about 13 kilometres to go. For the canal network, we've got about £14 million that we're spending on this. 12 million of that has come from the Cycle City Ambition grant through Birmingham City Council, but we've also had a £2 million contribution from the Greater Birmingham and Solihull Local Enterprise Partnership. Well, we've had a great response. We've seen on the Birmingham-Worcester Canal a 50% increase in cyclists, and on some of the other canals over a third increase in cyclists as well. For the Cycle Revolution, the whole programme is £62 million. Now, £39 million of that has come from central government through the Cycle City Ambition grant. A further £17 million has come from Birmingham City Council, and we've also had contributions from Greater Birmingham, Solihull, LEP to the total of £6 million as well. Cycling for the city is about facing some of the challenges that we have around the environmental issues, so reducing congestion, but also improving air quality as well. But it's also really good for improving people's health through that active travel mode.
I've been cycling to work for ages. I used to cycle as a child, and then I took it up again when I was working in London. I just find it's a great way to start the day. It's a great separation between work and home. So by the time I've got to work, I forgot whatever it was the kids were asking me about. By the time I get home, I've left work behind and I'm ready to get back into family life.
It's not just about losing weight, but I think it's putting into child a culture of being aware of their health and what they can do to improve their health. And I think that's a long-term investment in health rather than just trying to lose weight in a short term.
I think it's absolutely great. Obviously, when before the work started, there was mud and loose pebbles, and that's always a risk for the cyclists. But since they have done the tow paths, I think the ride has become much smoother. It's much better signposted, and it's also given a lot of space for cyclists to cycle. And because of the pedestrians walking as well, I think the improvements have really shown the benefits.
Cycling is one of the most complete exercises one can think of, because not only you get to go out in the fresh air, but also you get to socialize with a group of friends, because often you would do cycling as a group, but focusing on the cardiovascular and the physical element of it, you get a good workout of your hamstrings, your quadriceps, your muscles of the leg, your muscles of the back, as well as the muscles of the upper part of your body.
You can go out to the canal network, to Worcestershire, to Stratford. Actually, the countryside is on your doorstep, but you'd never know it. And I think that even if you cycle around the city centre, although it's urban, it feels very, very green, very, very natural. So we've got a significant amount of canal network. And the most important thing is that now most of it has been improved. So within a kind of 20-minute cycle, you can say you'll be cycling on good quality towpaths, which is fantastic. It is, Birmingham calls this the Birmingham Cycle Revolution, and I think the transformation is quite a revolution for the cycle network in Birmingham.
There's a lot of information on the City Council's website about Birmingham Cycle Revolution. You can find out where to ride, all of the activities that are going on, where we're building the new infrastructure, and how you can take part in some of those community groups and led rides and so on.
Our final task for this lesson is to explain how Birmingham can stop the problem of congestion. So we've got 3 tasks that you're going to write out to form a paragraph. So you need to firstly describe how a city like Birmingham can cut its traffic congestion. You are then going to explain how the trams and the new cycle routes in Birmingham can stop the congestion and improve the air quality. So try and mention some facts and figures about the problem, and then explain how and why those trams and cycle routes would improve the congestion. Finally, I'd like you to try and think about how those strategies are going to improve the environmental, social, and economic future of the city. So try and break it down. How are they going to improve the environment? How are they going to improve the lives for people? And how are they going to improve the economy? So all 3 of those tasks together should form a really nice paragraph explaining how and why Birmingham is going to try and sort out the problem of congestion. and you need to send me that task as part of your Teams assignment after the lesson. Okay, now we've finished those tasks, we're going to head back into the lesson for our second period. Thank you.